What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, Doug and I are talking not only A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Squire, but also we're talking Wonder Man Season 1. We got a lot to talk about, but before we get into all of that, Doug, how's it going tonight, sir?
Well, Keith, let me tell you, I am very disappointed in you, and I am never buying you an ale again.
But I don't like ale.
Good. No, I am outstanding up. Another excellent batch of TV, and I gotta say, I'm kind of looking forward to talking about both. Uh, but obviously, before we get into that, we need to know, Keith, how are you doing?
I am absolutely tremendous.
Absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, I watched this new episode twice. I watched it last night and I watched it again today because I loved it. It was such a good episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
I did the same thing.
But should we talk A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms first or Wonder Man?
I think we should talk A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms first.
Sounds good. Got a lot of notes on this, but this episode 3, is called The Squire, and I love it because it starts out, Dunk is sound asleep, Egg decides to train the warhorse, Thunder. And we didn't get any CGI organs this time, or no humans pooping, but I love that the fact that he's like, let's get him, Thunder, and he's like, just takes a crab. It's like, what he builds up. And then you see him running with the lands. He's just a tiny little kid running with the lands. Mm-hmm. He's serious about getting Dunk
being a squire.
His joust. Yes.
And it really goes to the name of today's episode because he's taking this very seriously. Like you said, he clearly, has decided, I don't want to really be a part of this family. I don't like, what they're all about. I want, out in the open in nature, and I want to serve my lord. And he tells Dunk even later on, like his entire plan and how it involves basically continuing to be his squire and eventually both of them settling down with pretty women.
I loved that scene. Was one of my favorites because it's how different they really are. He's like, I could just see myself being happy in a place like this, and he's like, we're here right now. and then he's like, and then I'll marry the second prettiest girl or whatever. Oh, why not the first one? Well, you would have already married her. And he's just like,
right.
I was like, oh man, Egg's great. But
he is.
While he is training Thunder, a one-eyed knight, comes up asking if he stole the horse. And that, it'll be okay if he is, just return it or whatever. And I thought it was funny that he didn't say, oh, this is my knight's horse I'm training. He said, it's not stealing if you mean to take it back.
You're right, yeah, I didn't understand that either. I wasn't sure why he phrased it that way. It was almost like, it very much reminded me of the type of stuff you see in rom-coms where, like, bad communication leads to that third act argument, that brings you to the tail end of the movie. Like, that's what it sounded like, and I was waiting for there to be some sort of repercussions, but there weren't any, so I didn't understand why the writers would have him say the line that way.
Hopefully it comes up and it explains it later, because I didn't know if he didn't want him to know he was a squire, or what was going on. They never really explained it, so yeah, I'm like, did I miss something? And when I watched it again, I'm like, I still don't get it, so I'm glad it's not just me. But we do find out that this is Ser Robyn Rhysling, who, man, his little speech about, well, the warrior you encapsulate and you bring the madness or whatever. I was like, oh, he's one of them. Cool.
Right.
Good guy. Nice talk. Happy to have you here. I have a feeling he might come back later, and we'll talk about that. Remind me to talk about Ser Robyn later. But,
I will.
Egg, of course, I shouldn't say Egg, but Dunk is like, where'd you go? We got things to do. Fetch my armor. And he's like, why? Don't ask why.
So I can go enter the list, so I can go fight. He goes, well, you don't plan on doing it today, do you? And he goes, well, yeah, of course.
only highborn and
Right, he's still gonna, like,
well-known knights do today. Are you a highborn or well-known knight?
right, like, did your knight not teach you anything? Like, dude, these are basics. You should know this.
And I wanted to memorize that song he was singing while he was whittling the stick too, because it was obviously about his family. He was talking about all of the Targaryens and stuff. I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting.
It sounds like something that he must have heard on the road while, out running around and escaping from his family.
Yep. Or it's something that he heard around the castle that maybe the servants sing or something.
Oh, that's good. And enough for him to have memorized it.
Yes. Yes. And then Dunk, being Dunk, is trying to buy some goose eggs. And the guy's about to kill the goose, and he's like, no. When Tanselle...
No.
Yeah, when Tanselle
Cancel
walks
order.
by...
No. I want just the eggs. Huh?
But Tanselle walks by, and he, of course, embarrasses himself again. He's just kind of a goof.
Of course.
And she tells him that, hey, the shield will be ready later on. So he thanks her for that.
I feel like she said that to end the awkward conversation. Because you could tell, like, he was very poorly attempting to kind of, like, flirt back with her. Would you like some goose eggs? Do you like goose eggs? Yeah, your shield's gonna be ready tonight, buddy.
I don't think the infatuation is both ways. It may be later, though, but we'll get
maybe. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
That might end up changing.
And then, of course, Egg, while they're talking about a nice place to live and a lord to serve and, marrying the prettiest and the second prettiest daughter, he asks, hey, can I be your squire permanently?
Again, he asks him, yeah.
And he goes, well, if I lose, I'll barely be a knight. But if I win, yeah. You know what? You do good work when you put your mind to it. And they're interrupted by Plummer, who asks Dunk to take part in basically a rigged joust, which I didn't understand. Why do they have to let him know it's rigged? Was he supposed to be the one that picks him to go against? Because they could have just picked him and had, Sir Duncan the Tall take him out, and no one would be the wiser. Because he's not going for it. They obviously didn't understand him very well to think he would take part in this. Because he's like, I don't want a victory that I didn't earn.
Well, at first I thought they were going to ask Dunk to take the fall. Like, that's what I thought they were, like, setting up. And then when he said, we're going to, we need you to, have, to win this competition, I thought the same thing. I'm like, why even bring him in on it? But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, maybe it's so he can sell it better. Maybe he would, they might not know what his experience as a knight is. So maybe they're like, look, we better just let him know this is the plan. That way, he doesn't act surprised when, dude purposely moves his body in front of the lance or something.
Yeah, you're right. He probably would have to be on the know to make it look as good as possible. Because, they're back at the jousting tournament, and that first guy knocks him off, and it's great. Egg's just like standing up going, you can tell he's really enjoying it. Dunk's all fired up, and
he's into it.
Takes that swig of whatever that is, spits it all out because he's not ready for it. And then Aerion calls out one of the knights. I forget his name. I forgot to write it down. But you hear Egg saying, kill him. Like, he really does not like his brother at all.
Yeah, I'm noticing that.
And then, they do one sweep, and Aerion kind of jets out of the way. Yeah. So the guy kind of falls over, like kind of a
So I'm guessing
move.
His brother didn't recognize him at that point.
Or he didn't see him because he's got his helmet on and he's jousting around maybe or something.
That's true.
And then he ends up...
I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
So first off, I loved his helm. I thought that looked really cool. But then I noticed that both of their horses had a little bit of armor on. Like, they had face plates and, chest plates and stuff. And do you think that was normal in, like, our Earth medieval times, or do you think that's more just something they're doing for the show?
I think it was. I think they would, for jousting especially, and wartime, You don't want them to be able to take you out by hitting your horse somewhere. So you would protect it like you would, for spoiler alert. But I definitely think they do. We see this here. It's funny because Sir Duncan notices. He's like, it's too low, and then ends up killing the horse, falls on the guy, very much breaking his leg possibly. All heck break loose because we find out in a few minutes too. There's not a lot of love for the Targaryens, and especially
clearly not.
Especially not this prince, who seems a bit cruel and jerkish, if I may use such language.
I was a bit surprised that even one of the audience members was like, yeah, I don't even care. I'm going to throw a rock at this dude's head. Because, they instantly, it wasn't just Dunk that noticed this, obviously. Other people in the audience, big-time tourney goers that have their favorite, teams and nights, I'm sure. And just, I hope everybody out there has fun.
Yeah, they understand.
Sure they understand how it works, and they're realizing the same thing. His lance is a bit too... It looks like he's purposely aiming for that horse's neck.
He was not trying to unseat the knight. He was trying to kill the horse, and they knew it.
And you could tell he must have been trying to get it lined up just right, because their first pass by, he moved his entire body and lance out of the way.
Which, he was being booed for that, too, which must be a bad etiquette when jousting.
I think so.
So yeah, they were upset, and they stormed the place. The King's Guard come out, and people are getting punched in the face, and they're trying to settle order. And then of course you have
to have the one guy slowly trudge out, so that way he can do his duty of finishing off the poor horse.
Yeah, putting him out of his miseries. That was a little bit sad.
The least anyone could do. And even Egg is like, I don't want to watch this. He knows it's coming.
Yeah, Dunk, being the good knight, is trying, as a squire, sometimes you're going to have to see this stuff. Yeah. If anything happens to me, I hope you'll be able to, help me out and all this stuff. And then they run into a fortune teller, which I thought was funny.
This was a dark scene.
I know, because, she's like, oh, you're going to have fame and stuff. And he's just like, yeah, okay. I don't believe you. But he
doesn't take anything seriously.
Says, you are going to be king. You are going to die a horrible death, and the worms will eat your ass, or a fiery death, and worms will eat your ashes. And he's just like,
and everyone will celebrate.
Yeah, everyone will rejoice. Or what? I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, right.
He seems like such a good kid. I don't know what happens, but my god, obviously.
Which Targaryen is he going to turn out to be?
Yeah, well, he turns out to be king. He becomes king.
Oh, wow.
Because
okay.
He
doesn't become the Mad King, does he?
No, he's not the Mad King.
Oh,
no.
Okay, all right.
And, he's kind of freaked out by it. And, of course, Dunk, not knowing his actual lineage, is just like, she's just saying anything. Here's a copper or whatever. She just wants her money, not knowing how true that really was. But it freaked out Egg quite a bit. And then Dunk runs into Raymun Fossoway. And he says, hey, why don't you come in for some cider? We make it ourselves. And I think Egg must know Raymun, or think Raymun will recognize him, because he's always very skittish around him. Doesn't talk much, kind of hides his face, turns away. And so he says, well, I'm going to go see the puppet show, because he loves the puppet show. It's great. He is such a kid. He's like doing all the Squire work, but it's like, oh, man, that dragon puppet's coming out again. I got to go check it out. And while Egg is watching the performance, obviously, Dunk is talking with Raymun, and he explains, Dunk, naive as all can be, he's like, what honorable person would try to do that? There's no way a knight, yet alone a prince, would try to kill a horse like that. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know anything about the Targaryens, do you?
And he goes off, and then he's like, kind of sorry about that or whatever. But it's setting up. This is going to be a buddy, someone on his side when all heck breaks loose, which we'll get to that in a minute. But, God, it was funny because he was just like, oh, man, I really went off there. Sorry about that. And Dunk's just like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, I heard his uncle or whatever say that before, something about, finishing on his woman's chest. And
right.
that would be better for the entire realm if they did that. So obviously there is a lot of...
There's quite a few. It seems like most of the realm is fed up with them, and because yeah, they're like the language that he uses, unusual for how long the Targaryens have been in power. You can tell this is clearly some propaganda that's been cooked up, and now people are repeating it. Yeah, because the language he uses says they're aliens. They come from another place, and they burn our cities and they enslave our people and they do all of these things, and he's talking about them like they literally just came, and they've been in power for many years, a couple of centuries by this point. So their ancestors definitely were. They had come, they'd burned cities and done all of that, but it seems like they're as much a part of Westeros at this point in time as any of the other Grey families are. And I'm not defending the Targaryens by any means. I'm just saying you can tell that clearly some of the other lords are pushing this narrative, and the other people are believing it, like based on the sort of attitude, the general attitude that most of the Targaryens seem to have, like this prince.
And I think a lot of he even says each one gets madder than the last. So they see that, and they don't have such they don't have the strength they once had. They do not have dragons
anymore, not without dragons.
So the lords are becoming a little more confident in being able to do it, and they're getting out there. So I think that was
it makes you wonder if some plotting had started even at this point.
100%. You got to think people are already thinking, what can we do? Because if lower knights are saying each one's madder than the last, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what's going on, and in King's Landing, he has no idea.
Right.
But he's heard it, and enough people have said it that he now repeats it to get people to believe it. So
there you go, exactly.
And while Egg is watching the puppet performance, his brother walks in and sees this knight kill the dragon, and it sets him off. And Egg comes running in to get Dunk, saying, you gotta come. And what he sees is Aerion breaking her finger, basically because he says, the dragon always wins, and he was just upset. And this just enrages Dunk. And he doesn't care that he's a prince. He grabs him, knocks him down. Then as the guards are grabbing him, he kicks him down again.
Because in Dunk's eyes, this is the way that a chivalrous knight should act. I think he's not even thinking about this person is royalty. These people could jail me or kill me or anything like that, or they're the rightful rulers. They can do whatever they want. He's clearly thinking, as a knight of the kingdom, I put the kingdom first before the king.
And I'm sure we're going to see probably in the next episode a little what's next, that he's going to be like, what I did was right. He was assaulting a maiden. Knights do not. We protect maidens. We save them.
That's right.
What he was doing was wrong. And they're going to be like, he was a prince. He was not behaving in a knightly manner. And he's going to stick to his guns, and it's probably going to get him in more trouble. And of course, Aerion's like, oh, you loosened one of my teeth, so we're going to knock out all of yours.
Knock all yours out, yeah.
And while they're getting him...
Sounds like a Targaryen.
Yep, sounds about right. And while they're getting him ready to do it, Egg rushes in and is yelling for them to stop. And Dunk's like, stupid boy, shut your mouth. They're going to come for you next if you don't do it. And he starts naming the guards by name, saying, stop what you're doing in my father's, whatever. And they're like, oh my God. And Dunk's just looking at him like, what is going on? He's...
And then the only thing the brother can utter is, what'd you do to your hair?
I don't want to look like you or whatever. And he's like, I mean, the look on Dunk's face when he realizes, I've been traveling with the missing kid.
With the prince.
And yes, he's a prince.
The one that
realm.
I joked about could be dead.
I forgot about that. I hope you find them and they're not dead.
Right.
Why would you say
Who says that?
Do you think the rumor when Raymun was saying, oh, the rumor is they're dead, do you think that started because Dunk had said it?
I think so.
But yeah, I mean, Dunk, the look on Dunk's face, like, and then of course it ends, which, I get it. But I mean, there's so much that these are shorter episodes, but I'm kind of getting into the pacing because the banter between these two, I just love. Seeing them eat their sandwich together. Another one of my favorite scenes was seeing them eat that breakfast sandwich together. Like, nothing was really spoken. They were just, eating. And then when Egg was like, I'm going to get you some hard salt beef or whatever. Ooh, I can't eat it. Dunk wasn't sure at first, and he's like joining in like, oh, you're imitating me? Ooh, I'm going to eat fancy food like grapes and all that stuff. And then he's like,
they're mocking each other. It's
great. It's like, no, don't buy me an ale. Yeah, they're disgusting. And then I won't buy you one. And you just see how close they were getting. And honestly, this looked...
One of my favorite scenes was, I think it might have been after their breakfast, when Dunk decides, you know what, I should do right by this kid. He's been teaching me things. I ought to do what my knight did for me, and I should teach him a few things. And so, like, he's sitting him down and he's showing him a couple of things, like, this is how you, do this, how you do that. He's showing him how to, like, brush the horse and all these other, like, daily tasks.
Yep. That was very, very... And now he just looks betrayed, finding out this kid was lying to him. Huh, you rode with a farmer's cart the whole way here? I don't want to talk to you.
Oh, right, when he was talking about the sheep, yeah. Just great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know who the antagonist is going to be for the rest of this. Prince Aerion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you watch the trailer for next week?
I did not. No.
They talk about the trial by 7.
Oh.
So
what does that involve?
I believe it's Aerion picks 7 knights to be on his team. Dunk picks 6 knights, so there's 7 of them all together. So it's like Dunk and 7, or 6 more for 7. Prince Aerion and another 6 for his 7. And
so it's sort of like trial by combat, but instead of just 1v1, it's 7 versus 7.
Yes, because Aerion, I don't think wants to fight him 1-on-1 because Dunk is massive.
Well, no, but I mean, he could have picked, because like, they did this in Game of Thrones, right? Yeah, they can pick like a champion to fight for them. That's what Tyrion did when he had what's his name, Pedro Pascal fight for him.
Yep. So this is really going to turn, I think, this a little darker. It's no longer going to be a festive, tournament scene anymore. This is going to be, oh my God, did you hear about that hedge knight that struck a prince? And now they're going to be, and all I can think of too after I saw that is like, who's going to be part of Dunk's team? I definitely think Lionel Baratheon is going to be. Yep.
I don't know if it's going to be him specifically, but I think some of his men will.
I don't know. He's such a weird dude, like singing about Alice and all that stuff, and just dancing around. I think he is like, you know what, this kid, he's so naive, doesn't understand. Who cares? I'm going to be on his team. I'm going to help him. I think we might see Raymun join his team. Obviously, I don't know.
I think so too, yeah.
I don't know how his uncle Stefan would do, but we know the Fossoways have like a major splitting up, the red apples and the green apples, and this might be the beginning of that we've heard stories about from Game of Thrones and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's going to be it. Raymun's definitely going to, he wants a piece of the Targaryens, I think, after his speech.
Oh, yeah.
I think that speech sets it up
definitely.
like that. And then, I don't know honestly who else, but you see in the trailer, Dunk is like dead serious, like, all of these knights, of the 7 kingdoms, and none of you have the honor to do what's right, or do, like, he's fired up and yelling.
So do you think the next episode is going to actually be the trial of 7, or do you think it's going to be putting the team together episode?
I think it's going to be putting the team together.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
It'll be, they figure out, Dunk will be in jail. We know Egg visits him in his Targaryen robe, and he talks to him, and Dunk's like, you've lied to me since the beginning, and so. And then we see like the hand of the king, or basically saying, and Aerion goes, I want a trial by 7. And the one guy's like, "What is that?" So it sounds like it's, pretty old.
Oh, like maybe he just made it up or something?
No, it's something from the past, I guess.
All right.
I was kind of looking it up, and it was something that was done. It just hasn't been done in centuries or something.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
It sounds like a hassle, really.
Yeah, it really does.
All right, well, I guess let's tear down all this tournament stuff that we worked so hard putting together, so we have room for, 14 people to crash together in some sort of weird army trial. What?
And I wonder if we'll see people stepping up to, Dunk doesn't need a new sword, but maybe they'll improve his armor or stuff, because there's people that don't like the Targaryens, and he may see...
Yeah, that's a good point.
He may see a lot of
people
new
helping
sponsors.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to be known for going against the royal family, but they're going to be like, in secret, hey, you could use some better armor. I'm just going to leave this here and walk away.
Oh, I didn't know you were by that elm tree, but here you go. I found this. I thought it was yours. Oh, no, it's not, sir. I think it is. And,
I can see Dunk doing something like that. That's not mine. Yes, it is. No, I don't think I've ever owned a shield like that. Yes, you have. Shut up.
And my shield's wooden. This is too nice to be mine. Keep it. What? But yeah, unfortunately, he's probably going to be in jail until the trial. And I don't know if we'll see Tanselle or if she probably got out of town. I can't imagine that she's going to stick around, because you got a Targaryen prince mad at you. You probably don't want to hang out. She's probably pretty happy that Dunk stood up for her, but she's probably going to be on the run.
It would be in her best interest to take off, so that way, if the prince loses, he doesn't retaliate against her.
Yeah. But we even saw, the crowd turning against Aerion. I don't think the nobles will be that vocal about it, but I think he's going to have the support of the people. And I think, like we talked earlier, the subtlety support from all of these nobles who may not be in open revolt against the Targaryens, but they see what this kid is. They did a good job of setting him up being, just a jerk. And like that first episode when he's like, oh, you can take my horse or whatever. He's like, oh, I'm not a stable boy. Oh, fetch me a drink. Oh, I'm not a server. I'm a knight. This is the state of knighthood these days. He's just really cruel. And then, obviously, what it did in the joust. You're going to see people openly rooting it. Even Egg doesn't like him. Even his brother was hoping he got killed in the joust. And then, we got to talk about the prophecy. I wonder if Egg's going to talk about the prophecy to anybody. His dad or any of his uncles or anything. I wonder if he's going to be like, you won't believe what was said. And the scariest part, probably to him, it wasn't like he was traveling as Prince Aegon. He's just a kid looking like a little pipsqueak squire, and she's like, oh, you'll be king. You'll die a fiery death. He's probably freaking out by it. He may talk to somebody.
Like, no, I tried escaping my family. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to tell anyone. I think he's going to probably keep it to himself, but it's really going to bother him. I have a feeling he will most likely keep, reminding himself about this prophecy, even to a point, most likely, attempting to circumvent it.
Yeah, he'll probably be doing everything he can. But we did even hear Raymun, Fossoway talking about, the one brother's a drunk, Aerion is a cruel, vindictive, jerk. The third boy, he's going to become a maester, which we know what happens to him. He ends up on the wall, taking the black. And then, there's Egg. They're lost. He's probably drunk. The other might be dead or whatever. Having no idea. Right. He just ran into him before he's sharing a cider with Dunk. But I can't imagine Dunk apologizing or doing anything. He is never going to back down from saying, I did what a knight should. If we are truly knights, then I did the right thing and I shouldn't be punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I only hope we get a satisfying scene at the trial of 7 when Dunk kills Aerion. Because
do you think he will kill him?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
Only because there's more stories to tell, and we know the two things I know is.
Well, I know
Egg
there's more
becomes king.
stories to tell, but I'm wondering if he just knocks him off his horse, or like knocks him to the ground. I'm just wondering if
Oh, that
he
could
lives through the trial, and
That's a
he's
good
just
point.
defeated.
That's a good point, because you know what? If Dunk takes him down, and he asks for mercy, Dunk will give it to him.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even.
And again,
think
I
about
think
that.
he would probably, I could see him using that as an opportunity to prove this is how a true knight should act. At the same time, I could also see the prince then, as soon as he's helped up, turning around trying to stab Dunk in the back.
Yep. 100%. And then, of course, imagine the stories that are going around that camp that the prince, Aegon, was posing as a squire to a hedge knight, and no one knew. And I'm sure they're going to be
That's going to
very
make all the
upset.
guards look really bad.
Yeah, 100%. And, they're going to be a little upset that, well, Aerion is going to be very upset that his little brother defied him. And basically, you stopped me from getting justice against this hedge knight. And I think Baelor is probably going to be the one who comes in and says, no, he has every right to. And that's when Aerion will demand the trial by 7.
Yeah. Well, now I'm going to have to go watch this trailer,
Yeah.
since I have to wait a whole week for another
No,
new
you
episode.
don't.
Oh?
Oh, yes. You didn't watch the end. At the end, they tell us, because of the Super Bowl on Sunday, episode 4 has been moved up to Friday, February 6th.
Really?
Yes.
That's exciting.
I know.
Okay.
I was very happy when they said that, because I was like,
Nice.
do they? I thought for sure we were going to miss it, like they weren't going to have a new episode this week and just skip it all together. But nope, Friday the 6th. Then unfortunately we'll have to wait, 9 days for, episode 5. But that's all right. That's all right.
Mm-hmm. It should hopefully feel like less, because we'll be here Monday to discuss it.
Yep. And then we won't have a Fallout episode to talk.
Or, worst of all, Keith, what if today repeats? What if we never get to see the next episode because we're stuck on Groundhog's Day?
That would be terrible. But what can I do when I wake up and it's today again?
Well, let's see here. What did Bill Murray do besides rob a bank and
Yeah. But any other what's next that you can think of there, Sir Doug?
No, I think the only other what's next that I had we've pretty much already covered. As far as, I don't think he's going to kill the Prince Dunk during this battle. I know he's going to win, obviously, because we're only on episode 3. So he is going to win. I just don't think he's going to kill the Prince, because what would be a better villain for the rest of the series than a defeated, pompous little princeling who's now trying to get his revenge?
Yep. Especially if he stays with Egg. If Egg stays on as his squire or something along those lines.
Which I don't think, the book series would be known as Duncan Egg if Egg, deuced out after like chapter 2.
It's actually because he eats goose eggs all the time. He's so well known for eating goose eggs that he's just there's Duncan Egg. He's just carrying an egg to go make his breakfast sandwich.
You need a goose egg?
You like goose
or
eggs?
it's a goose egg. How many times you've won? A big fat 0.
It's true. Yeah, but you know what? I was thinking about this too. We saw how kind of dejected he was, thinking about how, his knight, Arlen Pennyworth or whatever, wasn't well known. He's like, what kind of knight is like that? He was kind of depressed about all that. Think how he might be like at the end of next episode if he's in a jail cell by himself thinking, I might die tomorrow. And if it's before anyone steps up to join, because the prince might be like trial by 7, thinking no one will join his team, and it'll be 7 against 1, and they can just murder him.
Turns out, yeah, all these people hate his guts.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, a shot at that prince? Yep, I'm helping you. And yeah, if it's not Lionel Baratheon, he'll bring somebody like, I think this guy will help you out and help you win or whatever. So, and that's gonna, we know that the Baratheons, Robert is the one who kills, Rhaegar Targaryen to kind of claim the throne back from the Targaryens. So this might be the beginning of a little animosity between those two, houses.
Oh yeah, if he loses some of his men in this fight, yeah. Or if he ends up targeting the Baratheons after he loses.
Oh, true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that could definitely be it.
And then now we've got like a long-standing blood feud that would definitely be another primary reason why the Baratheons and their what is it called? Their the other local like castles near them that like they're subservient to them. Yeah. Is it called
they're like bannermen?
Bannermen, yes, they're bannermen. That was it. And it would make more sense, why he was able to gather up all of his bannermen so easily to start a rebellion too. Yep. If this had been long going.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to all the setup this could give us.
It really could give us quite a bit. And I wish I would have read the books, but kind of glad I didn't too. But right? should we rate this episode now?
I think we should.
Dave? Oh, Dave's not here.
Oh. All right. Well, you want me to go or you?
I can go first because I usually go second. Right.
Sure.
I really enjoyed this episode. I think seeing, the banter between Duncan and Egg just keep improving every episode. Like, they're really becoming a close-knit team. And you see Egg, training the horse, training himself because he wants to be the best squire he can be. Oh, I almost forgot, too. I wonder if Ser Robyn Rhysling is going to join.
I was supposed to remind you.
Dunk's side. Yes, I think it may be because that whole little scene when he seems a little impressed with Egg. This tiny little kid's like talking back to me like, "What happened to your hair? What happened to your eye?" And that's oh my God, you're Ser Robyn Rhysling.
And then we see that quick flashback scene, which I'm assuming that was a replacement for shitting behind a tree and holding dong in hand. Was a dude riding his horse with an eyeball hanging out.
I would say yes. We did see the horse, defecate.
Oh, that's true,
too,
yeah.
So
we got a twofer, yay.
Yeah. And we see all of their camaraderie. We see, Egg. We see how Dunk is just Dunk all the time. And, we're going to see him, obviously. He starts out, he's level 1. And we're going to see him build out through the show. And even the toughest thing to do is have a twist, like Egg admitting he's a Targaryen prince at the end, which everyone knows. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. Almost everyone knew. But they pulled it off so well because it wasn't just, haha, I'm a Targaryen prince. It was almost how betrayed both Aerion and Dunk felt by it. And, hearing his commanding voice and, and then, of course, his brother like, why'd you cut your hair like that? I don't want to ever look like you or be like you and stuff. They just pulled off having a very well-known twist in the story and executed it very well so that it still worked. And that's not easy to do. And, we saw the fortune teller stuff, which is probably going to play into it later. We saw Lionel singing his song and their little discussion about the Alice from the song and whether she was a real person and whether her name was Alice. And all of the stuff that goes along with, fame from being sung about all these years. It was just great. Everything about this episode just worked. And I'm going to give it an 8.5. I'm just, further we get into it, the more I am enjoying the show. And I can't say enough nice things about it. Sometimes you watch a show the first time, you're like, that was so good. And you watch it the second time, you're like, kind of fell off. But now with this show, you watch it a second time, and you're catching more little things, and it's just that much better. Yes. I can't wait till Friday. It's going to be tough watching it with the kids up late, but I'll sneak downstairs and watch it.
I agree. This show has been phenomenal. I was a little worried with the first episode. I'm like, what exactly is this show supposed to be? Like, what are they going for? Like, it kind of threw me off because I was expecting another big, dark drama like Game of Thrones or like uh um song. Oh my gosh,
House
what's the
of
other Game of
Lord
Thrones show?
House of the
House of the
Dragon.
Dragons. House of the Dragons. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be something along the similar lines, and this is not that. It's obviously taking place in the same world, but it's not taking itself quite as serious as the other two. And so I was a bit worried at first with that first episode, but yeah, man, you're right. It really just keeps getting better, and it's also one of those shows that you can watch multiple times, and it kind of gets better as you watch it. Because yeah, you're right. I love that example. You kind of pick up on other things, or you sort of notice other nuances, or like I love the flashbacks or the episode things that they showed in the beginning, almost as like a setup. Like, hey, we just want to remind you, this kid's a dick, so keep that in the back of your mind because this is going to it's going to matter towards the end. Wink, wink.
Yep.
But yeah, this episode was phenomenal. It was really good. I like how you can see how they're getting closer. I think that's probably my favorite part. Just watching Duncan to Egg, sort of where they started off as Dunk sort of okay, yeah, you can be my Squire for a little while, but as soon as this tournament's over, you have to go on your own way. And now it's kind of like okay, well let me show you a couple of things. Let me teach you how to like brush the horse, how to take care of this, and I'll show you how to make good salt pork and we'll have goose eggs and whatnot. And it's like he's caring for him, and you can see that I think it makes the I don't know if I really want to call it a betrayal as much, but I guess it's probably how it feels to Dunk. But it makes that betrayal at the end all the worse because you see how much closer they're becoming in this episode, only for Dunk to find out, wait a minute, this kid has been a prince this entire time. He's been one of these Targaryens that we've heard everybody constantly complaining about. I commented that he might be dead somewhere. And yeah, everything about this just works. And we've been waiting. We've been waiting for the event that was going to, like, I think you pointed this out, episode 1. You said there's going to be something that happens at the tournament, that one of the Targaryens are going to threaten somebody that Dunk clearly has to come in and rescue. I think your original theory was like one of the princesses or something.
I thought he was going to be attacking.
But we knew it was going to be something like that. One of the Targaryens is going to, yes, and Dunk, being a chivalrous knight, chivalrous knight, is obviously going to step into rescue because, of course, he would. That's what a real, true knight should do. And yeah, now I'm looking forward to. I cannot wait to see the next episode because I need to see how this plays out. I need to see what's going to happen, and after all of this, I'm going to have to go and watch the preview to hold me over. So I got to give this an easy 8 out of 10. It keeps getting better. I can't wait for more.
Yeah, that. I not only are we getting episode 4 on Friday, but I was reading that they have material. They think this show could last 14 to 16 years.
Oh my God,
or seasons,
that
I
long?
should say. Yeah, they said they have enough material, stuff from the books that he's already published and stuff that he wrote that never got published. They think they could pretty much talk about season 1 when Dunk and Egg first meet, all the way to Egg becoming king, and Dunk being the
Kingsguard or whatever.
Kingsguard, yeah, the head of the Kingsguard. I forget what it's called.
Well, they better hurry up then. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Dunk is eventually going to become king, but I was going to be like, that kid's going to grow up soon. You better hurry up.
Yeah. They're going to have to get some seasons in quick. But, with 6, if they just stay 6 episodes a season, it'll hopefully be able to get one once a year and just build up to it, because it'd be nice to see all of that, storytelling, all of that character development, Dunk from being a totally naive hedge knight to being, head of the Kingsguard. That'd be pretty amazing.
You know what else I hope they do, and I wish more shows that knew that they were going to be several seasons long, and they know that they're, going to need to flash back to when the characters were younger. I kind of hope they choose now, or they have already chosen to now, film a couple of scenes with Egg while he's young, maybe something that takes place, when he decided to take off, or just scenes as he's a kid interacting with his family members and stuff. That way, if they need to feed this stuff in later on, they don't have to hire a totally different actor, and we're all like, that doesn't look like Egg.
Yeah, if it's a scene between him and his brother when he takes off and shaves his head.
Mm.
It'd be good to have him
I
do
kind
it
of
now.
hope they film all that stuff now. Even if they don't need it now, that they have it ready for later on.
Especially if they have all this mapped out for all these years.
Oh,
They would know
exactly.
what they're
Yeah.
going to need. So that'd be a smart thing to do. I like it. I like it.
Hmm.
All right, you ready to talk Wonder Man, sir?
I will be ready if you give me just a short intermission.
Yes, let's have a short intermission.
Excellent. And then maybe we can come back and do our whole What's Up, Fellow Nerds for all the YouTube folk.
Everybody move your body. Everybody move your body.
Oh, that was quick. What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we're talking Wonder Man Season 1. And yes, I did say Season 1. But before we get into all of that fun, Doug, how's it going today, sir?
Well, Keith, let me tell you, I am wonderful,
Yes.
man. I've been looking forward to talking about this. It Another good show, but oh, please, Marvel, don't hide this away. Please, don't. But I want to talk about this. So, Keith, how are you doing?
Doug, I am filled with ionic energy of happiness. as
Nice.
as you guys know, I am a huge Wonder Man fan. I have been. Did about 20 back issue breakdowns on our YouTube channel
Just
with
a couple.
with Wonder Man in him. His origin, all the stuff he went through, all the greatest stuff. Some West Coast Avengers stuff, Vision Quest, so much cool stuff. I love Wonder Man. So, I was very excited that they were deciding to go with Wonder Man. So let's get into it. And I'm going to tease you with a little tidbit of information. I don't know if you know or not. This was originally going to be a Trevor Slattery project.
I did not know that.
And they decided, oh, you know what? Let's bring Wonder Man in because he's an actor and it'll situate it in. It'll bring in another hero. But it was originally they were thinking of a Trevor Slattery solo thing to kind of do some of this, because this...
That really does make a lot of sense. So if you've watched this show, that makes a ton of sense.
And they dropped all 8 episodes at once, so we're going to talk about them all. We're not going to go as in-depth in each episode just because of time restraints. But, the first episode, Matinee, we see Simon is fired from American Horror Story because he's doing way too much.
Too in-depth. And this is where I didn't think that I was going to like this show, because for this to be our introduction to essentially the main character, one of the main characters, I'm like, oh, I know that now that was in service for more character development, but oh boy, that was a rough way to introduce your main character to the audience. I'm just like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah, you're watching it like, dude, how are you not getting it? They don't want to hear this. Just do your lines and get out. But we see that's his process. He's got to think about every little detail of his character, and then
And also, I want to fully admit how ironic that is that I say that I didn't like that. When how many times have I said, man, I sure just wish we had actors that really cared about the characters. And okay, I take it back. Maybe care just a smidge less than Simon Williams did about his one-shot character that dies in the same scene that he's in.
Yes, they fire him before he can even die in the scene.
Right. I like the excuse they give him. Yeah, they decide to go in a different direction.
And of course, he goes to see Midnight Cowboy, and Trevor Slattery happens to be there, and he recognizes him. He's kind of talking to him. They're kind of bantering back and forth about acting. And as he's leaving, he tells him that has an audition for the remake of Wonder Man, which Simon saw the old Wonder Man movie with his dad. He loves it. It's his favorite, one of his all-time favorite movies. And he's got to get in on it. And of course, Doug had said, I think when we talked about the trailer breakdown, that Disney needs to release that old Wonder Man movie on Disney Plus. Release it. We will all watch it. It'll be great.
I will watch the whole thing.
Yes. Oh, me too. Multiple times. But, Simon, of course, has to get into this thing. He barges into, his agent's thing, and she's like, hey, it's too late. It's going on today. And he ends up calling somebody and pretending to be her, and basically works his way into this audition. And while he's there, Trevor Slattery gives him some good advice. Just calm down. Just read the lines. Take a deep breath, blow it all out, and just read the lines. And he ends up doing that. It works. And he's very confident. And then we find out, unfortunately, that Trevor Slattery is working with the Department of Damage Control because he never finished his sentence, and they're going to throw him back in jail unless he helps them get Simon. So it was all set up.
Yes, and of course he's going to pick a project that obviously Simon Williams would be interested in.
100%. And then we get to Self-Tape, which is the second episode. His audition went well, and the casting director says, hey, I need a self-tape for another project that he might be really good in. If he can help it out, he ends up, he's emotional in his apartment. We didn't talk about it, but his girlfriend left him in the first episode too. Never really felt the connection with him, and because of how he is. And it makes sense as you watch.
I do like that they end up taking the time throughout this special presentation, season, I don't know what you want to call it.
I'm calling it a season.
Spotlight?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
But we end up finding out that, a lot of this has to do with these abilities that he's had since he was a kid. and that, he has never been close to anybody. In fact, they mention multiple times, I think even his mother and his brother, a couple people say how, oh yeah, Simon doesn't have any friends. He's never had friends.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's hard for him to get close to someone like a girlfriend when he doesn't want to open up about himself.
And, he has such a emotional reaction to the self-tape. He ends up, his energy kind of bursts and rattles the apartment. Now, Slattery is supposed to put the thing on his laptop. They end up going to Joe Paglianato's house, who has all the stuff and real estate and all this stuff. But it's not
I'm
working.
glad they had him in the show.
Me too.
He was great.
And it was great that Simon stood up for Trevor and was kind of upset with him. And then they end up going back and they get the tape made. And Trevor gets
I also like how after they leave, Joe calls up his agent. Why didn't you tell me about this Wonder Man thing?
Yeah.
Like before all of that, he's going on this big speech about how I don't even care about Hollywood. I don't care about acting. It's just a gig. It's for money. I don't. Why didn't you tell me about Wonder Man? I want to be in that.
And he ends up putting the ring on Simon's laptop, and they film the tape, and he sends it off to damage control, and he realizes after seeing the damage
that whole journey of trying to film that tape. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can see why that needed to be a whole ass episode, just because they tried so many things.
They went to that place to film it, and she's like, oh, you should have read the contract. I have to read all the off-screen lines. Okay.
It's like, oh, this is terrible.
And, he realizes when he sees the damage in his apartment, Simon is a superpowered being.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get on to episode 3, where Slattery is wired and supposed to go with Simon to his mother's birthday party. Family tensions flare. Simon doesn't get along with his brother. His brother is, works for an insurance company, wants Simon to work with him. Figures out he got fired from American Horror Story or something happened. And
how did he find out?
I think just the way Simon was reacting. He's like, "What happened? You're not on it. What'd you do? What happened?" And then what really sets him off, he's like, "So you bought our mother a present with the money she gives you. You're like a 5-year-old child. You haven't aged or anything." And, once again, Simon having a difficult time controlling his emotions ends up just destroying
this newly renovated kitchen.
Yep. Which I'm sure is going to make his brother really happy.
Yeah.
And we do find out that his entire family has known that he's had powers since the fire incident, back when he was a kid.
And they're really good about keeping it secret, which good on them. And you think somebody would have blabbed by now.
Yeah. But you see when his mom's talking to Trevor when they're in the kitchen together, and she's like, and Simon, said, "Thank you for loving me." And she's like, "I always thought he was fine being alone, and I realized that wasn't the case." It was such a sad moment and so, excellent scene between, Ben Kingsley and the mom at the time. I don't know the actor's name, but he ends up feeling so bad. He ends up destroying the wire, the wire. So the Department of Damage Control doesn't get any of that information. And we end up at the end of this episode, they both get callbacks for Wonder Man. Very happy. Then the next episode is just phenomenal.
I was so surprised that I loved this episode as much as I did. It was so good. But when they started off that they're going to basically show us a complete side story, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. Oh, what are they doing? Like the Acolyte, they're going to show us, some weird, overly long flashback thing. But it turned out this episode was so well written and so well directed, and the acting was so good, and it fits. It does tie directly into what they've mentioned in previous episodes. Simon even brings up the doorman clause and how, nobody wants to hire any actors with superpowers because of the doorman. And for those of you out there that do not know, the doorman is an actual Marvel Comics character. Obviously, the stories are quite a bit different from what he is in the comics, but
yes, he was a mutant in the comics.
So it's a Wonder Man story in general.
But it's funny because we see, DeMar Davis, he's just a doorman at a club, loves his job.
Likes his job.
His boss can't figure, "Oh, you've been here so long, we've never had anyone this long." I'm just happy
Nobody
to work
stays
here.
this long.
And while he's taking out the trash one night, there's a Roxxon dumpster that's oozing some stuff. He ends up touching it, and it changes him. And he ends up becoming a celebrity. Josh Gad gets him in a movie, Cash Grab. And he's just a huge celebrity.
I also I do like that they set up that Josh knew him prior to all of this. That was nice. I enjoyed that because it didn't come out of nowhere. So, they do the proper, oh, hey, come on in, buddy. And, hey, when you're done with all of your, doorman stuff, actual being a door, come on in, party with us. And I'm gonna sing the song from Frozen.
I'm going to change the lyrics a little bit. I hope Disney's okay with that.
Which I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was great.
I was like, I should look this up on Spotify later. This was actually, it was pretty good.
And,
2 for 2, Disney.
Yeah, they end up, doing Cash Grab, and that was so successful. They do another. He's starting to get down on himself. It's like the Simpsons episode. Bart, say the line. And he's like,
yeah.
He wants to be more than that. He wants to be
knock, knock. Or no, ding dong.
Ding dong.
Because somebody's like, wouldn't knock, knock have made more sense? Yeah. Damn it, yeah.
And during Cash Grab 2, they're filming a scene, and Josh jumps into him to escape out of an armored truck and never comes out. So the Department of Damage Control ends up basically detaining DeMar for life, as far as we know. We haven't seen him out. I'm sure he'll get out. And that's, Hollywood responds basically by creating the doorman clause, banning anyone with superpowers from filming a movie. And, Simon is devastated when he sees this, knowing that that's all I've ever wanted to be as an actor. I don't want to be a superhero. I don't want to be anything.
I don't want them to not give me a shot at the one thing that I want to do just because somehow I accidentally wound up with powers, which I'm beginning to think that he's a mutant.
Oh,
the
Simon?
fact that it showed up when he was a kid.
I don't know about that.
I think maybe his X gene mutated,
I think that's possible, but we'll talk about it after we get through all of this. We could see what's next for possible season 2, or maybe in a movie or something. But the next episode, I enjoyed the next episode tremendously too. It's found footage. Simon and Trevor are really excited about their callback. Simon's anxiety really starts to spike. He wants lines to go over, and Trevor's like, it's good news. We don't have anything. Have a drink. Have some fun. Calm down. And he ends up teaching him the box breathing to try to help him. And it's nice. We're seeing Wonder Man, getting in control of his emotions, which always has been what causes his superpower to freak out, through acting. Through an acting coach, basically. And, it was nice to see, Trevor and him are becoming really good friends and close, and of course, they end up getting, a guy walks over to Trevor and says, do you remember me? Oh, yeah, we were in that film or whatever together. No, you owe my boss. You ordered all of this stuff for one night and you never paid me. And they end up taking them outside, and Simon has to use his powers in public to save Trevor. And, of course, the kid sees the whole fight and films it with his GoPro on the thing. And it's them chasing him and going around town, being stuck in traffic. Ends up... I love the fact they finally get him in a public place. And he's like...
I like the fact that neither of them really know that much about technology. They realize, we didn't need to go through all of this. We could have just taken the GoPro from the kid.
Can you just have a GoPro just upload directly to thing? No, you need a laptop or something. But he ends up, I know what you can do, and you need to get my bike back from this guy. You go get the back, and I'll give you the footage, and you can destroy the camera or whatever. So they go.
And I love they make you think that this guy is like has some like weird underhanded drug thing going on, and they're. You see all the people, they're bagging things up, and, whoa, what is this? What is this? Well, we've got gummies, man. It's candy.
It looks like a scene out of Breaking Bad. Like they're cooking in the house, and then it's like, oh, no, this is Chili's, and this is this, and they're like, oh, we can do one for the Mandarin. It'll be orange flavored and stuff. And they're like, just good kid. He's like, wait, what's his name? Wants his bite? where is he or whatever? You know, what's
That's not
going
his
on?
bike. We were business partners, and he ran out.
And, you know, Trevor, of course, supports the candy people. Simon's like, well, you know, Trev, we got something we got to do. We got to make sure we get it or whatever. And then the drug dealer shows up. All heck's breaking loose, you know. They're, like, trying to run out of the place. And, you know, they get in the car and they're like, we're in the wrong seats. Just drive, just drive.
Right, just drive.
And then Janelle calls and basically says, the callback is immediate. You need to get here. And next episode called Callback, you know, they're at his mansion, and Simon is just being Simon. Oh my God, there's one pair of shoes out here. What?
He thinks it's a test.
Yeah.
He's gonna be looking at who took their shoes off and who didn't. And he's trying to like it felt like the Vicini scene from Princess Bride.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With you being a man of certain statutes, obviously you'd put the poison in your cup. But knowing what you know about me, you put the poison in my cup. And I'm just like, I'm listening to him like work out. Well, because there's only one pair of shoes out here, obviously, some of the shoes are inside. But if all of the shoes are out here, then we definitely have to take just watching him try to reason this out and like gaslight himself into it being some conspiracy test. And all the while, like... Trevor is just looking at him like, can we just like go inside, man?
Let's just go. Let's just read the lines or whatever, you know. Right. And of course, you know, he had the call sheet. He knows what he's supposed to say, and you know, Von Kovac just breaks it all apart by let's just improv and let's do this, and you know, he does a scene from Pretty Woman in his, and Von Kovac notices it and says, you can do
I love that he
Woman.
calls him out on it too. Like, I recognize that too. Like as soon as he's talking about like whores and prostitutes, and I'm like, is he doing Pretty Woman? And as soon as Von Kovac says, okay, well, you just did a scene from Pretty Women, but sure, not really what I was going for. Like you can tell he was looking for improv, and because Simon, everything has to be perfection with him. It's like he's incapable of improv right now.
Yep. And of course he didn't sleep, and he's worried about that. He's like, I need my proper rest. I can't do it without rest. It's with him, it's always I can't do it because of this. It's never I can do it. And he ends up sitting outside. Well, actually, he falls asleep and has a dream that he punches through the one guy's head.
I fell for it, by the way.
So did I. I was like,
oh my God.
How are they going to cover that up?
Right.
And then, you know, Von Kovac, are we boring you? Well, he's like, no. And then, you know, he goes outside and he's talking to Trevor. And Trevor, you working his magic, gets him into character. And then they totally, you know, ace it. And then, of course, they're like being let out of the building or letting go. And he's like, we blew it. We're getting taken out. I knew it. Oh, my God, I thought that was good. And can't believe this and stuff. And then he's like, I just didn't want to say it in front of everybody else, but you guys are my Simon, or you're my Wonder Man and Barbary. And super excited, can't believe it. You know, the Department of Damage.
I was so worried at the end of that episode. I was so worried that Von Kovac was working with the Department of Damage Control too, and that he was, you know, ready to report to them. All right, I've offered him the role. I was going to be so sad about that because Simon has worked so hard to get this, and this specific role means so much to him because of his father.
Yep. And it was huge when he got it. But yeah, then we see that the Department of Damage Control picks up Trevor. And he's like, what happened to the recording? What's going on? And he's like, oh, don't worry.
It broke.
I know how to get him. You just got to give me more time. And they're like, and I forgot to mention this earlier. I love the fact that we see the Department of Damage Control isn't just some, you know, kind of villain lurking in the shadows. We find out they're having budget problems. They've got a prison that's half empty. They're talking about cutting their budgets. They're going to have to let people go. So there's a lot of pressure on them, which doesn't excuse their behavior per se, but it fills in why they're doing it a little bit more. And that just always adds. The more you know about why people are doing things, just for me, it always makes it better. And knowing, you know, we see, what's his name, working late, and his boss like, I always kind of liked you. You know, I hope I don't have to let you go or whatever. And, you know, it hits home. You realize why they're doing it. But the next episode, Kathy Friedman, who once again, we find out, hey, Simon, you're filming Wonder Man. You're on set. You know, we see him, you know, kind of getting comfortable. Like, get me a banana smoothie, a banana protein smoothie, and some bacon. He gives the bacon to the one kid.
Turkey
and stuff.
bacon. You know
Yeah.
what? Regular bacon. And
He's getting comfortable, and then he
yeah,
finds
he
out.
was. You can tell that he was. Once he had gotten the role, it was almost like he was acting out his fantasy of this is what it means to be, an A-list star actor. I've got people waiting on me hand and foot, and he's digging it at first. And you can tell this is how he's been interacting with them ever since he's been on set. Which I would love to know how much time passed between all of this, because in the real world, generally you go through, like the whole casting process and all of that. That takes place almost several months before you actually begin filming, because then they've got to go and they've got to find sets, they've got to build the sets, they've got to get costuming and everything. And so it was they didn't put anything on screen, but I have to assume that several months passed, and that's also probably what got in the Department of Damage Control's nerves with Trevor. Like, hey man, it's been a really long time, what is going on?
100%. And Simon's very comfortable, and he's starting to, hey, he's doing everything, and then he finds out that a New York Times profile, Kathy Friedman, he's like, Joseph Gordon led it. We found out about the the pigeon thing. What did he do to the pigeon? Oh, we don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And he's freaking out, thinking he's going to expose him and find out all the stuff about him, especially his secret that he doesn't want anyone to know because of the doorman clause. And, as she's talking to him, she's seeing, oh, your brother said such nice things. He was so worried Eric was going to say all this bad stuff and talk bad about him. But, Eric did the right thing and talked all this good stuff. His mom talked about him good. But she's like, Trevor, I heard multiple reports that you were actually arrested flying back into...
Tessie she could drive around in the snow?
No.
She just took off again and it's snowing. Didn't even say anything.
Well, text her and tell her to get home. I did not tell her that. Sorry. And, he's like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. She's like, I got multiple reports that you were arrested. And did you make a deal or whatever? And he's like, no, that's it. I'm storming out of here. You're right, Simon. This was a hit piece and blah, blah, blah. And then he ends up feeling terrible and tells Simon that, hey, I did make a deal with the Department of Damage Control, but I don't want to do it. We're friends and all this stuff. And ends
I've bought you a lot of time.
Yes. And Simon, feeling betrayed, loses control and just blows up.
Goes into one of the warehouses where a set is built and just loses it. That might be the most he's let his power loose in this season so far.
Probably ever, outside of maybe that first time when he did it in his house. But even that was probably smaller because just burned the kitchen.
They said I think the fire was contained to the kitchen.
Yeah. So then the final episode, Yucca Valley, Simon flees. He's, knows Department of Damage Control's coming after him. But Trevor ends up taking the blame by...
making another Mandarin video.
Resurrecting the Mandarin.
And, wow, good on him for, being able to get right back into that persona, get the same graphics, the same voice and everything. And I was like, oh, God, I remember how good this was in Iron Man 3.
And he's ended up arrested and I liked it too because the Department of Damage Control wasn't like, oh, we got the right guy now. It wasn't Simon. He goes, we still know it's Simon, but right now you're a big enough
know
fish.
That you've done this big publicity stunt, so we've got to play the same game that you've started.
Yeah, especially we're putting you in prison. It's good PR for us. It'll help our budget crisis that we're currently having. So we'll go along with it, but this isn't over yet, basically. And poor Trevor does the right thing and ends up replaced by Joe Pantalonio in the movie. Which, man, them putting that scene in with him later and stuff looks so bad and stuff. And but the movie's a hit. Simon's a huge star. I loved that he's wearing the red sport coat that was Simon's uniform costume for a while in the comics. The worst costume ever for a superhero. But, he's wearing it as his, formal wear. And it looked great. I thought it was great. And hey, the movie's a hit. Simon's a huge star. But he's not happy because he feels bad. He ends up going
I think he realizes he developed a friendship with Trevor And so that's, it's really like, yeah, I understand that, you know, he was doing what he had to do to try and keep himself out of prison. I probably would have done the same thing. It's he also sacrificed himself to make sure that I could stay free and do this movie. I've got to do right by him.
And he's working with a prison guard saying, it's for a role. And he eats
For
with
a
them.
role.
And
And even the guy is even kind of skeptical, like, you're sure they want to do a movie about me? You sure you've got the right guy?
and it's all to get into this Supermax prison where he ends up, they fudge some things. He's a new hire. He ends up taking out some of the things. He goes to Trevor's cell and says, hey, let's go. And he breaks him out. He's
And hey, he can fly.
Yep. And he can fly because of, the energy.
Doesn't need a jetpack.
That's right. Thankfully, no more. And he ends up breaking him out. We see him, fly off together. And that's where season 1 ends. Now, if there is a season 2, or even if we see him in a movie coming up,
I hope so, but I am so afraid, based on Disney's track record, I am so afraid that they're going to tuck this away like they did Echo, like they did Special Investigation. I mean, there's
well, one of those needed it.
Yeah, yes, one of those did need it, but in like another movie where they get ready to reference it, they sort of don't. It's like they only halfway reference the whole scroll thing, and it's like they're pretending, at least in the world of the movies, that like the show didn't happen. And also in Daredevil Born Again, we didn't get any reference, at least none that I remember, of Echo. I think, save for like, I think maybe Daredevil might have mentioned something once, but otherwise there was like nothing. There was no sign of her. What happened to him doesn't really get brought up, and it's like, I'm starting to wonder, is Disney going to do the same thing with Wonder Man? Are they going to be like, well, we released it all in one day, we're going to now tuck it away, pretend it didn't happen, he's not going to be a part of the Avengers, whatever. But I hope that isn't the case. I want to see him continue on. I want to see more of Simon Williams' Wonder Man, and I'd love to see more of Trevor Slattery, too, because he's just hilarious.
Well, you got to think, if there is a season 2, Trevor would have to be in it, and the question is he going to be like Public Enemy or or an icon? Like, they're going to be like, yeah, he broke a guy out of prison, he's a bad guy, but he's also a huge Hollywood star. Wonder Man is a huge hit. He's going to have fans. It'll almost be like, is he a real hero? What's going on? They're going to try to condemn him, and I think he's going to have a lot of fans. He's almost going to be, because in the comics, which they can't do, Zemo gave him his powers because Tony Stark Industries ran his business out of, basically put him out of business. So he wanted revenge. He got powered up by Zemo to, take out the Avengers and pretend to be one and then turn on them. But he ends up seeing how good the Avengers are and turns, and he ends up dying, but obviously coming back. Watch the...
totally different backstory for this version of Simon Williams.
But we could see flashbacks to him maybe getting his powers through advanced idea mechanics, something else. They left it open to maybe come back or make him a mutant. It's hard to say. But, season 2 could be a lot about how he ended up getting his powers, and maybe there's others that have...
That would be interesting to find out if something like that was happening. I was getting some, like, The Boys vibes from episode 4. The way that, they had Doorman doing all of the ads and everything, and it was sort of like they were creating merchandise and everything around superpowers, which isn't really something you've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe so far. Like, it's probably happening, but nobody really ever talks about it like that. So it'd be interesting to find out if there is some sort of shady organization that's still messing around with like a super soldier serum. Maybe the power broker is involved or something. I don't know.
Or Roxxon, because we did see Roxxon with the stuff.
Yep, could be them as well.
And,
but yeah, it could very well be one of these shady organizations that's attempting to create more superheroes or supervillains.
Yep. And we even see, obviously, we talked about Department of Damage Control wants him, but obviously he's a huge movie star now, so it complicates things. But he did Cleary's line said Simon could be an asset.
Yes.
So maybe they don't want to arrest him per se. They do want to own him. I expect them to give him, a recruitment speech, kind of like he gave Slattery, like, you can go to jail or you can work for us and you can do these things. And we may see season 2 start out, he's working for the Department of Damage Control, helping them round up other super beings. And I think maybe he would find out, hey, this isn't right. I'm doing the wrong thing, and figures out that he can't do it and get out. Maybe even ends up freeing Doorman from the prison because of it. Maybe freeing everybody from the prison because he's finding out that, these people aren't good. Arresting people because they have superpowers isn't the right way to be. There's good people, there's bad people. It all depends on how they use it. And so,
Well, I have a similar what's next.
Ooh, let's hear.
So I think that if they do continue on with Simon Williams' story and, have him and Trevor, continue on as, being heroes of some sort, how perfect would it be if he joined the new Avengers? I mean, he'd fit in with that group perfect.
Yeah, he definitely would.
Especially Trevor.
Yes, he would.
Aren't you the Mandarin? Aren't you a Soviet propaganda hero?
And they'll never see me coming.
Oh my gosh, that sent chills because that was so good. And I know that we've mentioned this every time, but I was kind of disappointed that he wasn't the actual Mandarin in Iron Man 3 because of how good of a job he did. I mean, it really does show in that universe Trevor Slattery's acting chops. The fact that he was just that believable. But also, after seeing Shang-Chi, I am glad that he wasn't the Mandarin.
Yeah, and he's really gotten a tremendous character arc between Iron Man 3, Shang-Chi, and now Wonder Man. He's like come full circle. It's been great. I was so mad at Iron Man 3 for what they did. But now I can probably go back and watch it again, probably.
Yeah.
Now. I probably
And
should.
it's like, okay. It works now. Yeah. I guess the only other thing that I was going to say about this is that other than the theory that it could be some shady organization that could be the MCU version of Vought, which that would also be full circle. The fact that the Boys has been making fun of the MCU. It'd be kind of funny if now the MCU turned around and said, "Yeah, we're just gonna do the Boys now."
That would be kind of funny.
But yeah, if there's some like shady organization like Roxxon or whatever that's secretly making all of these super powered individuals, that would be an interesting take. But the fact that they pointed out that this suddenly happened when he was a child, I'm leaning towards I think this version of Simon Williams might be a mutant. I think he might have an X gene like Miss Marvel.
It's possible, but we could see very well his dad, who seems like a hero, maybe ended up doing something and letting his son be a part of an experiment, ended up giving him superpowers. We'll see that kind of dip. His dad, passed away, bless his soul, but he may be coming down off that pedestal if Simon finds out a few things. But it could definitely be a mutant, too, because they stayed away from talking about how he got his powers, just that he burned the kitchen and things like that. But
it's like they're leaving it open, so if they want to add on to that story later on. Same thing with the comment that they make at the end. He could be an enemy or he could be an asset. Again, leaving it open. Who knows what direction we're gonna take this in? Do we want to continue on with the Wonder Man story? Do we want him to show up in Secret Wars or something, along with the other 800 people that'll be there?
Yeah, he could show up in Doomsday and help them a little bit, and that would complicate them even further. Oh my God, he helped stop Doom or whatever. We can't really arrest him now. We're gonna have to figure something out, but it'll be interesting to see. I also wanted to talk about Von Kovac.
Okay.
Do you think his confidence in Simon? I started wondering if he knew about his superpowers. And because of how he is, that he wanted to make a superhero movie with people with superpowers. Like maybe to kind of.
I don't know, because we don't get any confirmation that he actually used any of his powers on set. So I don't know. I'm still not entirely unconvinced that the DODC contacted him. I don't know whether they were in contact with him or not, and that this was part of a, because it seems awful odd that he would, as much as Simon screwed up, that Von Kovac had, basically decided from the beginning, this is our guy, this is Wonder Man.
The only reason I say it could hint at something further, his name is way too similar to Korvac in the Korvac saga from the comics. And I was like, is that intentional? Are they just a little red herring trying to throw us off or what? But
like it could be an Agnes Agatha thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's there, but the fact that he just seemed like a very very creative director who wanted to do things differently, remake a Wonder Man movie, and maybe he knew from the audition that Simon was the right guy for it, and he just had to bring it out, and finally with Trevor's help it came out. You don't know, but I just was like, that's so weird that his name is that close to such a major villain from the Avengers comics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wonder if, because Simon is going to be a huge star, Wonder Man was a huge movie, everyone was talking about how great he was in it, he's huge, he's got superpowers, if the Doorman clause is going to come under fire.
It probably will. It'll most likely be very similar to the Sokovia Accords, where they realized, oh, this is a bit too heavy-handed. It was we went a bit overboard all because of one person in one event. Maybe we had to dial it back a bit.
Yeah. So we may see.
And then, of course, I think this will go to your point about Von Kovac. I bet other directors are going to be like, we could save so much money on stunt actors if we just get superheroes.
Yep. Find someone who's indestructible and they can, destroy the cars and do all that stuff. Yeah, I think it'll. And Von Kovac may be the one who helps lead the charge. Like, hey, look.
Mm-hmm.
Simon was in this movie. It was awesome. Everyone loved it. We got to stop doing this. So.
Yep.
Oh my God. Jason Durham said Von Kovac is working with Lex Luthor. Yes, it is the same actor from Superman. That is very true.
I forgot about that.
But, I also was wondering too, if Simon is still on the run, I wonder if the Department of Damage Control might try to get his ex-girlfriend involved.
Maybe.
Try to use her to lure him out. Use her as a, she knows his secret, and they didn't get back together, obviously, but when she met with him, she's like, yeah, I knew all along of your powers and stuff, and of course I didn't tell anybody. I never would. I would never betray you like that. But maybe they come with the same thing they did to Trevor and try to get her to turn on him or lure him out of hiding to kind of, capture him.
Or especially if they attempt to blackmail her or something. Like, you knew all this time that he had powers and you didn't report him.
Yep. And then it'd be nice to see that something, if they do have a second season, see him publicly saving lives, Trevor's, kind of helping him out and continuing to build his superpowers, and we just see him take on the Abomination or something, save the city, do something, and become the the hero that he's always looked up to, and he can still be an actor and stuff. But just a wonderful first season. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. It was definitely different than what I thought it was going to be, but I loved it because it really showed Simon as a person and building up to the superhero instead of just, hey, some freak accident, now he's a superhero and he's fighting people and stuff. It was just him learning how to be a superhero through acting, basically.
Yeah. I really wasn't very surprised by the direction that it went in, because I read an article a couple of months ago of people comparing it to to She-Hulk, basically saying it is a workplace comedy with superheroes. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. It's essentially what She-Hulk was, only bad with the courtroom stuff. Did not get that right very well, but it was essentially her going to court and then also superhero stuff on the side. And yeah, that's more or less what this was. We didn't see Simon, saving the day as far as like fighting any supervillains or like fighting some giant cosmic force or stopping a bank robbery. It's just I really need a break. I've been at this whole Hollywood thing for a while, and I just want to act. By the way, I have superpowers, and that gets in the way more than anything.
Yeah, he's trying to hide them, and of course he has to use them to save Trevor at the one scene, and then obviously save him again at the end.
It's almost like the opposite of your average superhero movie because most of the time you've got somebody who they gain powers and they're excited and they find out what they can do and they decide, okay, well, now that I have these powers, I now have a responsibility to save the day. But in Simon's case, he has these powers and they're a hindrance to him. And he doesn't want to take on any sort of extra responsibility. He'd probably prefer if they just went away. Yeah, they've come in handy. He's been able to use them to save his pal Trevor, but none of that would have even happened had he never had the powers to begin with.
Now, the last thing I want to talk about, his brother in the comics is the Grim Reaper.
Ah.
And I wonder if he stays on the run in the second season. Maybe someone steps forward, maybe even the Department of Damage Control, like, hey, we want you to go after your brother, and we know you're going to need powers, so we'll do this. And maybe the process that gives him superpowers affects him mentally a little bit, so then he's a villain down the line, and Simon has to kind of wrangle him. But I wondered if we'd see any hint that his brother was going to turn bad. While they didn't get along, he wasn't a bad person. He ended up doing the right thing for Simon, during the interview, and I think he was genuinely proud of him that he finally landed that role that would have made their dad so happy.
Now, Keith, I am wondering if, man, let's say that, just out of curiosity, let's say that maybe I didn't know anything about Wonder Man or about the Grim Reaper. Is there any way that I could maybe learn some more information? Is there maybe some sort of way that I could, I don't know, focus in on learning more about these characters?
I'm glad you asked that. If you look in our Twitch chat, there is a link to our In Focus video on Wonder Man and the Grim Reaper.
No way!
I know.
You're saying those nerds at Not Your Status Quo did an In Focus already?
I know. It's crazy. We did it way back during WandaVision because, we knew what a huge, hero that Wonder Man was going to be. So, yeah, we did it. We had no idea it was going to be this great of a show, but, it certainly was. So, I'm a huge fan. I think everyone knows that, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to put it in the YouTube chat, too, in case anyone out there wants to check out our In Focus.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
On Wonder Man and the Grim Reaper, but, hope to see them because, their dynamic is really great because we find out, everyone thought for the longest time that Eric Williams is the one who was, stealing money from the company. Find out it was actually Simon to try to help other stuff, and it's just a good arc, so I'm hoping it happens. Now, before we get into our rating, I have one more, just little bit of news to talk about.
Oh,
because
all right.
with Roxxon there, and Doorman's powers are very much like Cloak's from Cloak and Dagger's powers. During an interview, Olivia Holt says she wants to return as Dagger in the MCU.
Oh, now I wonder what prompted that.
Well, because of the Roxxon connection and basically Doorman and, the powers being the same. So it'll be interesting to see if they do anything with that. I know
would be interesting, yeah.
I know they're kind of scaling back a little bit and not doing as many projects, but they could work in a Cloak and Dagger show. We got Daredevil, we got Wonder Man, we got X-Men 97, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, maybe a Jessica Jones things down the line, but I think they could fit in, Cloak and Dagger to their story. They're great characters, and, it looked like they were hinting at it with the Roxxon stuff, that maybe they'll put out a little trial balloon. Would people be interested in seeing Cloak and Dagger? And it doesn't have to be the same actors from the Freeform show. That show was fine. But if they went with other actors, it would be fine too. But I thought that was interesting that she's already talking. Yeah, I would love to come back. Definitely. Probably.
Oh, maybe she sees like, hey, they brought Jessica Jones back.
100%. 100%.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, and Brian Mulherin asks, will Dinosaur and Flatman be joining them? And Mr. Impossible. No. And we don't know if the Great Lakes Avengers will be joining Doorman in the MCU, since Doorman was a founding member of the Great Lakes Avengers in the comics. I hope so. You know, Flatman, and we did see Mr. Impossible. I think that is it. Mr. Impossible. He was in She-Hulk. If you remember that,
That's right. Yeah.
Mr. Immortal. That's right, Mr. Immortal. Thanks,
Mr.
Brad.
Immortal. Yeah.
And he was in She-Hulk.
Oh yes, and he points that out. Okay.
So yeah, we've got Mr. Immortal and we got Doorman already in the MCU. So we just need Dinosaur and Flatman, and I thought there was one more in the Great Lakes Avengers. No, I can't remember. But hopefully. Well, Doug, are you ready to rate the season 1 of Wonder Man?
I am.
You know, without Dave here, I can go first again. I thoroughly enjoyed this. You know, this was such a different take on, you know, superheroes in general and how things work. And the banter between Trevor and Simon, the friendship, the development we got through Trevor, through Simon to learn to control his powers and become a hero. And, you know, we only saw a little bit of his superpowers in this. So it felt less like a superhero show and more like a buddy sort of drama. And it was funny and it was entertaining. And, you know, the episodes were just concise, to the point. It felt like a TV show. It felt like they knew they were doing. You know, they could have released it weekly and it would have still been really good. But I'm very happy they released it all at once, because I didn't want to wait a week to see the next episode, because they had good cliffhangers at the end and they did everything a television show should. I thought the acting was great. I loved everything about it, not just because I'm a huge Wonder Man fan, but I am definitely going to give this an 8.2 out of 10. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm hoping we get more. I hope we get a second season or anything else.
So I definitely did not go in with the same level of like love for the character and the same hype and everything. I'll be completely honest. Other than what information we had gleaned from our very well done In Focus, I didn't know much about Wonder Man, and I actually had to rely on your back issue breakdowns in order to learn more about his backstory and everything. So I guess me going into this, I didn't have any sort of like preconceived notions about it, and I knew that if they had changed it, I wasn't going to be disappointed in the direction that they went with the character. And I will say that I was thrown off a bit by like the first 2 or 3 episodes. I was like, okay, well, this is fine. You know, it's okay. It didn't really win me over right away, but the 4th episode pulled me in. And then the 5th episode was just as good. And then it kept getting better and better. And then the 6th episode and the 7th episode. And then by the time we got to like the last episode, I was like, oh my God, it's already over? And then what a way to end things, with him actually kind of coming into his own and having a heroic moment. Well, heroic to him. I don't know how the Department of Damage Control and, you know, the Avengers or whatever other heroes are out there, I don't know what they'll think about the situation of him freeing the Mandarin, but
They may have some issues with it.
They may have a little bit, a couple of issues, but yeah, I like that he finally, you know, while this power of his has been a burden this entire season, and he's basically wished he didn't have it so he could just be an actor, he's decided to kind of throw his, he's more or less using his acting now as just an additional power set. He uses it to get close to this guy to trick him into thinking, oh yeah, we're doing a movie on you, and you know, you gotta give me a tour of your Supermax prison. And then he's going to now take on this responsibility of being a hero and getting his friend out of jail. And I like that. I'm glad that they at least did that, because for, as you put it, yeah, it's basically like a buddy drama show. It's essentially like a workplace comedy of it, and it was very much centered around what it's like being an up and coming actor in Hollywood. They point out, you know, with a bunch of other people, how, a lot of them like, oh yeah, I started off doing this, started off doing that. And even in the Doorman episode, they even mentioned, most people come and go. You're the only one who stuck around for this long. Usually this is just a stepping stone until you get something better. And it was very much, that's what this whole series felt like, this is what Hollywood is like. And I don't know how the general audience is going to feel about watching a show like that. Once I figured out the direction they were going in and like the kind of tone that they were setting, I was able to, grasp onto it. Like I said, by episode 4 and then beyond, I was good. I was really digging the show. But yeah, I will let everybody know out there, please watch this, give it a chance. Simon is tough to is a tough character to want to back at first, but it's done for a reason. It's done for a good reason because it does help with his character development, and I enjoyed watching him grow throughout this season, and I kind of wish it had been weekly, because being able to watch him transition week after week into becoming less self-centered and, less up his own butt about needing to have this backstory and his process and everything, and watch him become a better man because of this friend, his first real friend, I think I would have liked seeing that week by week. But yeah, this was a pretty good show, all things considered, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Very well done. We'll have to find out from Dave what he thought of it too, because
definitely
he's not here tonight.
In
he's
fact,
obviously out with Kevin Feige, rewriting all of Secret Wars Part 1 and 2, making sure everything is good to go. Working Simon, Wonder Man into it all.
They're taking out all of the amazing Spider-Man cameos to make room now for just Wonder Man and Grim Reaper scenes.
Yeah, Doomsday is just going to be Simon versus his brother.
Right.
Where's Doctor Doom? He's no longer needed.
Oh, they got rid of him in the first act.
Yeah. Well, it's funny in Emperor Doom graphic novel. Doom has his plan to take over the world. He does it, and everyone's mind controlled. The only person it doesn't affect is Wonder Man, because he's pure ionic energy, and so he's the one who stops Doom in it. So it'd be funny if he ended up stopping Doom in Doomsday. It won't happen, people. I know it won't happen, but it'd be cool if it did.
I do hope that at some point in another show or in another season of this or in a movie, I hope they do a little bit better job actually explaining the MCU Wonder Man's power set, because I get that they said he's got ionic powers, but I don't know what that means. I don't understand it. From what I can tell, it sort of looked like he had gravity powers. Like I wasn't quite... Like, I'd see stones and everything kind of lifting, and then he would, like, blow things up, and then you'd see, like, the sort of explosion of something, and then the roof would go, or you'd see a hole in the wall, or... And I don't know what ionic powers mean. I hate to say, I am a dummy when it comes to that.
You are not a dummy, sir, but, they probably will get into his power set a little more if we do the second season.
I think he's earned that. And I did hear that. I hope this is true. I didn't actually verify it, but... I have heard that it is doing very well, especially on Rotten Tomatoes.
It is. Both critics and audience scores are in the 90s.
That's excellent. That's great to hear.
People are enjoying it, and that's good. I hope they keep watching. I hope it does really well, and I hope, watching this, I was kind of like, I'm kind of surprised they made a Wonder Man, thing. He's not the most popular hero, But then you watch it, you're like...
Think about it.
This was probably pretty cheap to make.
Look at what they did with Iron Man in the very beginning of the MCU. He really was not that popular of a character at that point. Yep. And I think everybody who knew anything about Marvel Comics is probably like, I'm sorry, wait a minute. They're doing an Iron Man movie? Really?
Oh, that's right. They don't have the X-Men or the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man, so I get it. But, I mean, they made this probably... wasn't very expensive. Very few special effects needed. Maybe the fight scene when he saved Trevor and then breaking him out of prison. But other than that, it was mostly just guys talking and, acting and callbacks and all that other stuff. So let's hope. If you haven't watched it, give it a shot. Doug asked you.
I recommend it.
Yeah, we're both recommending it. Go out there, catch it. I think you'll enjoy it. Be ready for probably being a little annoyed by him at the beginning. but he grows, and he definitely grows on you. So go ahead and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
But if anyone out there in the chat wants to give us their rating, a 1 to 10 on the Doug scale, 5 being average, please do. Oh, and then Brian says, oh, and I guess Squirrel Girl was in the GLA in later iterations. I did not know that.
Okay. I didn't either.
But good to know, good to know. All right, well, we're done with Wonder Man. Please let us know if you have your ratings. We do have some news and notes from the MCU.
Ooh. Okay.
The first one is a rumor. This is coming, Alex from Cosmic Circus.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the X-Men universe in Avengers Doomsday is a variant universe where events similar to the original X-Men trilogy and X-Men Days of Future Past have occurred. The difference is this universe is a utopia where humans and mutants coexist.
Okay. Interesting.
Which, if it ends up that universe gets destroyed in an incursion, that would be make it a little tougher to swallow, knowing that they, achieve peace between the mutants and the humans.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that'd be interesting. That sounds pretty cool. Hope they do it. That sounds like one of the good things, we've heard from the thing.
Yeah.
Now, the second Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is not going to come out with the Super Bowl.
Okay.
But it's going to drop any day now. They said it's ready to go. They're basically just don't want to pay the money for a Super Bowl ad. But they think there's something coming out, I forget what it is, a Sony movie coming out the week after the Super Bowl. They think they're going to drop it after the Super Bowl and have it attached to that film in theaters. So
really,
very likely we'll get the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer coming up.
Oh, that is if that was Sony's call, like I don't know how much they have a say in the whole marketing campaign. It is them. Yeah. Wow, that is just such a Sony thing to do. We're gonna take our biggest money-making movie that we don't put these out all the time, and we're going to not advertise it in a very good way. We're gonna attach to some other movie that people are not going to care about because it's a Sony movie. Yeah. Most of our movies are not that good. Yeah. Oh, but I guarantee if they were actually ready to release Spider-Verse, I guarantee that trailer would have been at the Super Bowl.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. And these people could be wrong. These are rumors that it's not coming out. We don't know for sure.
Okay.
What's actually going to happen. We've heard the Mandalorian and Grogu spot is going to be in the Super Bowl, leading to a new trailer being released, Toy Story 5, things like that. We'll just have to see it is. But
Disney, they have the money. I can see them being like, we don't mind blowing it.
And there's been conflicting reports. There's going to be a Doomsday thing. There isn't going to be a Doomsday thing. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Mm-hmm. You never know with these things. But that's all we got for tonight. Sure. I don't know. Yeah, not a lot of news and notes popping up. I think it's all being saved for post Super Bowl probably, but not a lot of real rumors or anything else going on. But we should probably find somebody to raid.
All right. Excellent idea. Well, let's see. I see. Like a wrath. Well, we've got Bubble is on playing Fallout 3. Tiny Velker is playing Magic the Gathering, like the card game, or is there like a video game?
I think there's a video game for it.
Huh. Well, what do you say about joining Tiny Velker?
Let's do it. She's always
fun. All right,
fun.
Excellent. And for those of you that are wondering, what are those nerds talking about? Well, this is just something we do on Twitch. Unfortunately, it's not quite anything we can do on YouTube, but essentially it allows us to take all of you fine, wonderful people that are watching us on Twitch and kind of keep the party going, so to speak. We're going to head over to friend of the channel, Tiny Velker, and we're going to watch her play Magic the Gathering, and we'll probably hang out with her a little while before we sign off. But obviously, if you're watching us on YouTube, we are not rating anybody. There is no going to another channel. If there was, YouTube has not made it very easy to do anything like that. So instead, what we would ask of you is please like, please subscribe if you aren't already. But very important, We want to hear from you. We want to know what you would rate Wonder Man. We want to know what your thoughts are on the future of the MCU. So get down in those comments below. And as per usual, we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo. Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.